Hey lovelies! So as far as I'm concerned, shortbread might just be one of the world's most perfect foods. It's got incredible texture, it's got incredible flavor, and the best part is it can be dolled up in so many delicious ways. Today I'm going to show you my classic shortbread recipe and then 3 awesome ways to doll it up, including an amazing savory shortbread that you guys have to taste to believe. Now, for our shortbread, we are gonna start by mixing up our dry ingredients. I like to mix my dry ingredients first. It helps them get really nicely incorporated. So I'm gonna start with some all-purpose flour here. To that, I'm going to be adding some powdered sugar as well as some cornstarch. Now, these 2 ingredients are going to give you that incredible melt in your mouth texture that shortbread is so well known for. I'm also going to add just a little sprinkle of salt to this because it helps to enhance the rest of the flavors. I'll whisk that all together until it's well combined, and then I'm going to set it aside while I get to work on whipping up my butter. Now, for this recipe, I am using some room temperature butter. That is going to make your life a whole lot easier here. And I'm just going to mix it until it's nice and light and fluffy. You can use a hand mixer or a stand mixer. Both will totally work here. And as soon as it's nice and light and fluffy, we can go ahead and add half of our dry ingredients. We'll mix those in until they're well combined, and then we'll add the other half of our dry ingredients. I'm also going to add a splash of vanilla just to get more great flavor happening in this shortbread, but technically you can skip the vanilla if you want to. It is not essential in a shortbread recipe. Once that's really well combined, you might notice that it's a bit crumbly, but when you start to pinch it together, you'll see you have this really nice dough. Now, this is classic shortbread. You could totally bake this just as it is. But like I said, I want to show you a couple great ways to make your shortbread even better. And the first way is by adding a whole heaping helping of chopped Toblerone. Yes, guys, I said Toblerone, the classic Christmas chocolate with that milk chocolate and all of that awesome nougat. I basically just gave it a quick chop, and I'm going to be folding it into this mixture. You will not believe how good Toblerone is in shortbread. Now that my dough is ready, I'm going to use my cookie scoop to help form my cookies so they're all nice and even. And I'm basically just going to start with a ball and then pat it down a little bit to flatten it into a disc. Then I will arrange them on a parchment-lined baking sheet and get them into the refrigerator for between 30 minutes and an hour. And then we'll bake these up at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for between 16 and 18 minutes. You'll know they're ready when they are just golden on the bottom. And oh my gosh, guys, these are incredible tasting. I will just say it is hard to show restraint around this many cookies. So for our shortbread round 2, we are mixing up the very same dry ingredients. So I have got my flour headed into my bowl. I've got some powdered sugar, cornstarch, super important. You wanna make sure you give that a tap. It likes to stick to the bowl. And finally, some salt. I'll give that all a good whisk, and then I'm going to start whipping my butter. Once that's nice and light and fluffy, I'll get my dry ingredients into my butter, as well as my vanilla extract. And this time, instead of Toblerone, I'm actually going to be adding some toffee bits. Toffee bits add such an incredible sort of caramelly sweetness to your shortbread. It really makes for some incredible taste and texture. Once I've got my cookies formed, I will once again get them into a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 16 to 18 minutes or until they are golden on the underside. The toffee creates the most amazing texture in these cookies, and you will not believe the flavor. These are the perfect gift for someone you really care about. Like really care about, because otherwise you're going to want to eat them all yourself. It's true. Finally, lovelies, for something totally different but equally delicious, I am going to show you some savory shortbread. So this is actually a Parmesan thyme shortbread. It starts with some all-purpose flour once again, but we are going to be skipping the sugar in favor of just a little bit more flour. I'm still going to add my cornstarch and my salt to my bowl and give everything a good whisk. Once that's all mixed together, I'll set my dry ingredients aside and get to work on whipping up my butter once again. Then I'll add my dry ingredients into my butter mixture and get that mixed up. Now that our savory dough is ready, we are going to add our savory mix in. So for this recipe, I'm using some freshly grated Parmesan. Guys, it is very important that you use freshly grated Parmesan in this recipe. I'm also going to be adding some fresh thyme to this. If you have rosemary instead, that would be good, or a combination of both would be yummy. I'll give that all a good mix, and then once again, I'm going to form my shortbread cookies and get them onto a parchment-lined baking sheet and into the refrigerator for 30 minutes or so. Into the oven they go at 350 degrees. These ones actually cook quite a bit faster, so you'll only need, say, between 12 and 14 minutes until they are perfectly golden brown on the bottom and ready to be devoured by the dozens in my case. These are, of course, delicious all on their own, but might I also say they make the perfect addition to a holiday cheese board. Don't believe me? Try them for yourselves. If you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo because I love seeing your kitchen creations. All of these yummy recipes are linked in the description box below. You can find them there. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, guys, because there's lots more deliciousness where this came from.